You know, this is a very surprising Raw, ladies and gentlemen. One, we got 9 matches, which we don't usually get out of WWE. Usually they give us 6, and if they ever try to go beyond 6, usually the match qualities are very short, feuds are sacrificed, stories are sacrificed. But in this case, they didn't do too bad. There were some lacking parts. I'm going to do matches first. Cody versus Axel. Now, I don't believe Cody will be going after the title, but you never know. My feeling is this. After what happened to Night of Champions, I do believe there's a great possibility that CM Punk will be going after the IC Championship, which would not be a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. As much as people want to see him in the main title scene, either the World or WWE title scene, going to a lower title for a little while will give the title some prestige. It needs someone with a lot of star power to give it some life. And even though Curtis Axel has given a little bit of a spark, a CM Punk will definitely give it a large spark. 2, since Cena is not there, the entire main title scene has now changed. A lot of things have shifted. So having CM Punk go directly to the main title scene may not be the wisest thing to do. Let it have some time. Now the match itself, it was a DQ. Axel really just went manic. But it does set up for what happened later in the night. But this, I really believe, is just a catalyst so CM Punk will eventually get the title. Now I'm going to move on to the next match, which was Dolph versus Bray Wyatt. Now I kind of feel sorry in 2 respects. Dolph, who really has not been given the opportunity to show what he can truly do in the main title scene, is now helping, jobbing to someone who at this moment in time is kind of being put aside for a little bit because of what's going on in the mid card, the upper card, and the world title scene, as well as the WWE title scene. The Wyatts have kind of lost a little momentum in my humble opinion. What happened with Kane? Now that he's not there, what have the Wyatts been doing? They've still showing some decent promos, particularly what happened with Kane. But since they're not being seen and they don't have anybody to do anything with, I believe they lost a little bit of steam. But it doesn't mean that it's over yet. But seeing this match kind of made me feel bad because Bray Wyatt really needs someone to feud with. And Dolph did not need to job here. Dolph really needed, I'll put it like this. When Dolph was battling with ADR for the title, the WWE had the perfect opportunity, 1, to break him away from AJ. 2, allow him, even if he didn't win the title, to continue bothering ADR for a little while longer than maybe about, how can I say this? He was out for at least 2 or 3 weeks because of concussion. They bring him back. Then he only battles for maybe a week or 2 with ADR. And then he's pulled off to battle with Biggie Langston. Well, 2 or 3 weeks before he went to Biggie. So it would have been better for him to at least last 1 or 2 months with an ADR. Then he could have been broken off to do something in the upper card. At least to see what he was capable of. But they took him out way too soon. Like I said, I think what they thought was, oh, he's getting over, but we don't think he's ready. Let him work with Biggie Langston. That'll help Biggie to come up. That'll still do something with AJ, and it won't be that bad for Dolph. It was bad for Dolph because Dolph got screwed there. I'm not a Dolph fan, not a big one. I like Dolph, but when it comes down to it, if someone has at least 3 to 4 tools in the tackle box of professional wrestling, and he may be able to get over with them. But if you do not place him in that position with those 3 or 4 tools to see if it can work, it makes no difference. So Bray wins, but really he loses along with Dolph because both of them need feuds to go into. Neither one of them have feuds. Neither one of them are being very well presented. I mean, the vignettes and the promos for the Wyatt family are still good, but I don't see anything for him to do. Dolph is almost doing nothing, even though he was talked about the COO of a Triple H. It's not enough. Now the next match I'm going to talk about is the 6 Diva Tag with a Brie Bella, Naomi and Natalya versus a I feel kind of sorry for Fox, because she really has nothing to do. Alicia Fox, I kind of feel sorry for her. I know she's not a great wrestler, but at least you can stick her with somebody like Rosa Mendez. But anyway, with a Natalya, a Brie, and a Naomi facing a Alicia Fox, a Layla, and Oksana, who still looks pretty damn good, it wasn't a very intensive match. The person who wins is Natalya. But on commentary, which was kind of strange, because you would expect the commentary team to try and put a little bit over of AJ, but they did the exact opposite, kind of like doing a little bit of reverse psychology on the situation. AJ just sounded menacing, even though as menacing as she can sound. She wasn't a great menace, but they kept laughing at her, trying to make her look like she's nothing. That kind of is a double-edged sword. In a sense, doing a reverse psychology, trying to make her look menacing even though you're laughing at her, is a good thing. But the thing is that AJ just does not have what it takes as a heel. She's done some good moments as a heel, but in general, she's not. So it just doesn't feel right. For me personally, I'm not an AJ fan. In fact, I don't like her anymore. She was much better when she was a cutesy gamer than she is as the heelish nutcase. Just don't see it. Now, the match that I wish didn't even appear was ADR versus R-Truth. I really had no interest. Putting ADR up against a very boring R-Truth. Look, if you like R-Truth, I understand. The time R-Truth was really hot was between the late 2011 and 2012, when he nailed a John Morrison, smoked on television in England, and essentially became a nut. That was the time he was so entertaining. Now, he's gone back to the way he was before, rapping in the ring, dancing. I just don't see R-Truth as a viable talent anymore. He needs to leave WWE. At least maybe with TNA, he stands a better chance. But what we got was a simple job for an ADR. I just didn't feel anything great from it. Now, the match that I really did enjoy, I'm going to do this right now. I got to do it right now. Santino Marella versus Antonio Vazzato. Now, this isn't the first time these guys have met, but it's been a while since we've seen Santino, which was good. And he got a great response from the Canadian crowd. He did. Everyone got a decent response throughout the night. But they were really very good for Santino. And then the long, I forgot the name of it, the long spin, just grabbing the guy by the legs and then spinning around like a top, like almost doing the airplane spin on your shoulders. They just did the long, I think the long spin, whatever, I can't remember the name of it. It was awesome. I had not seen something like that in an extremely long time. Antonio Vazzato pulled that shit off very well. The crowd went ape shit for it. They loved it. So did I. In the end, the person who won was Santino Marella, which isn't bad. Because of what's going to happen at Night of Champions with Antonio Vazzato and Jack Swagger, where they get the chance to become number one contenders, I know people could say, hey, that he needs to win at least once. I can understand that, but in this case, because of being really packaged as a tag team, it isn't too much of a loss for the whole. We don't see them much anyway, so you're not going to get hurt too much of not being seen. And it was great to see Santino get spun around like a fucking top. Now, the next match that continually promotes a feud is Damien Sandow versus The Miz. Now, normally with the faces and the heels, you know, ladies and gentlemen, the faces are the heels and the heels are the faces. The crowd was screaming, "Let's go Sandow! Let's go Sandow!" The intellectual savior of the masses needs to win. That's what they cared about. And normally, The Miz would have won that match, even if he had a feud with somebody. But in this case, because of what's going on with him and Fandango, ladies and gentlemen, and a Summer Rae still looks cute. She looks hot. You actually get a win for Damien, who is the Money in the Bank winner, who has not been winning for several weeks into the month, at least. It's good to see our Money in the Bank winner still. And it's good to see that he won his match without any reprisals. That was the best thing in this. It wasn't the fact that he won the match. It was that he didn't have to get a reprisal afterward, like a stone-crushing finale or anything like that. I enjoyed that segment. It was not too long, but it wasn't bad. So, the next match I'm going into that I felt could have actually become a feud. I actually believe this. Because ADR is dealing with Rob Van Dam, there's no way this feud could actually happen. At least not now. But maybe later, if Ryback is still dark and stupid, we could still have this. Because I wouldn't mind seeing Ryback go up against an RVD. They both have the same airbrush guy who does their clothes. And even though they're saying basically Ryback as a Goldberg, you could basically have some type of conflict, something different. It wouldn't be bad to see RVD going up against Ryback later. But I have to say this. ADR trying to put over Ricardo Rodriguez and RVD wasn't that bad. I think it was more towards putting over Ricardo Rodriguez. And himself, of course. But that still teases that Ricardo Rodriguez may still do something with ADR eventually. So that's okay. The match itself between these two. I don't know if Ryback got fined, but he started cursing in the ring, saying shit out loud. Everyone heard that shit. Literally. It was clear as day on television. Then he started saying stupid like a Randy Keith Orton. Oh, sorry, a Randall Keith Orton. He's a part of Breakfast Club. You must pronounce his name properly. But I think Ryback I don't know why they still have him on television right now. What are they going to do with Ryback? Now, you could say that what happened at the end of the match, where Ryback did win over RVD, that this could be the catalyst after a Night of Champions. Which, like I said, there's a possibility this could actually happen. But I feel they need to do some very good work with Ryback because I don't see anything good. I don't. Excuse me. Allergies. I don't see anything good with Ryback being a heel. They need to turn him back to face, but this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're going to be stuck with. Now, the last two matches I'm going to talk about, I want to do the storylines first. For Cody Rhodes, seeing Goldust back, and they showed him periodically through the night, was wonderful. I did catch a little bit of Goldust during the early 2000s, and I always wondered what the fuck was his problem. And then seeing Melina, here's Melina, the very short, cigar-smoking, big-breasted, sexy blonde with a nice curvy body. That is the type of woman that is needed in the WWE. Someone like that. Oh my goodness. She don't need to wrestle. She just is total eye candy, and she does the job right. Melina did a great job. I just loved her back then. I actually wish she had pulled down the top. But anyway, seeing Goldust back was great. Seeing that he tried to fix the problem that happened to his brother was even better. Seeing the interview with Goldust saying that he screwed up a whole bunch of times, he wanted to make up for it by taking care of his little brother, was actually good. And then God himself, who had to periodically be seen for the show, was necessary. It was totally necessary. So the match was awesome. It was a great match. I think it was the match of the night. Everybody was chanting, he still got it. But in the end, he did lose. And I have to say that that was the wisest thing to do. By him not winning makes it more over for Cody. And then when it came to Stephanie trying to make it even, I think it was King that said that was just like pouring salt in the wound, was actually very good. Seeing Goldust walk away defeated and crying was actually wise thing to do. I was very satisfied with this segment from Goldust. And he looked pretty damn good after being gone for at least 3 years. Now, the Heyman segments. When it came to Paul Heyman, After the match between Axel and Cody, he tried to fake that he got hurt. Tried a doctor from my New York. What the fuck you think you doing, Heyman? Don't you be trying to say a doctor from New York. They don't know how to do it. But anyway, when it came down to it, you get one of the doctors in the back, the very one who saved King. I forgot his name. Steve, I think his name was Steve. I can't remember. But he came into the ring, sat Heyman down, checked him out, and said he's fine. And I wish to say that Maddox was in full effect. I don't talk about Mr. Maddox much. I call him Mr. Maddox because he's earned my respect. He is not a full member of the Breakfast Club. He is still what they would call a pledge. But I can tell you this, that if he continues doing what he doesn't need to be in the ring. The only thing he needs to do is talk and be in the behind the scenes, and he easily can be a great Breakfast Club member. He did a very good job trying to make sure that Heyman knew that he ain't getting away with shit. And by the end of the entire segment, when CM Punk came out, wiped out the doctor, because he wasn't from New York. He could have took a better beating than that. Seriously. Wiped out Axel. He made the damn Heyman run his ass off up the ramp. No, not up the ramp. Up into the audience. I was very satisfied with this. They didn't make it too long, and it looked good. There wasn't no promo segment from Punk, which was a very good thing. If it had been another promo segment from Punk, I would have gotten bored with it. So I'm moving on to... let me see. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? No. The last thing I'm going to talk about was the Daniel Bryan versus Dean Ambrose match. Now, early in the night... Sorry, there's some things I'm thinking about. Early in the night, when you got the lovely, the wonderful, the blonde-haired Edge. I know the wonderful was a little... He ain't Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. There's only one Mr. Wonderful. There's only one Mr. Paul Orndorff. But you could say an Edge is like about half the man he is. It was great seeing Edge. Having the cutting edge was a great idea. Having him do Daniel Bryan instead of a Randy Orton was a smart move. And he put over Bryan very well. Edge has always been a great talker. I loved that about him. And then when the Orton came out along with the Triple H, God himself, and you see in the back, and I believe that was in, what was it? In Latin. All hail the king. I could be wrong. Either bow to the king or all hail the king. I think that was Latin. I'm not guy in Latin, but that could have been it. Who knows? But you see how great Triple H is by plugging Haven that will come out every Friday after 10 o'clock of a SmackDown. He basically says, you are nothing. Of course he isn't nothing. He has to make a good front because Edge is still part of the Breakfast Club in some form or fashion. He is. For him to come back and do a great promo like that, he has to be a part of the Breakfast Club still. Even if it's not officially fighting or doing anything in the back, by him coming back still shows he's still needed. He put over a Chris Jericho. He put over the John Cena like he normally does. But what he said about Daniel Bryan, I still say this. Wait until WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan versus the Game, Triple H, in either a Last Man Standing match, a Hell in a Cell match, a Steel Cage match, and a I Quit match. I still say it's going to happen. I still say it, ladies and gentlemen. But you see what I'm getting at. The King did a great job putting them both over. And when the time came at the end of the night when a Big Show had to sit and wait till the match was over because he couldn't do anything, what did we get? We got a good match between Ambrose and Bryan. And in the end, Bryan wins. He kicks the ass of the Shield a little bit. And then Orton comes out and basically annihilates him a little bit. And the Big Show once again had to punch him out. Still frustrated, still annoyed, still hurting. I know not everyone likes the Big Show's performance, but it's not bad for him. It's not. But in the end, what do we get? We got a knee lift to the Randall Keith Orton in the face. And we see Daniel Bryan holding the championship over his head. And he is the one that looks dominant, at least for this Raw, going into Night of Champions. I give this a B. It's a good show. I don't know if I would had the ADR versus R-Truth match. I just had no interest. But I can understand it was necessary. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane's View, and subscribe and comment to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. And I wish to say that I'm kind of upset a little bit because I heard JoJo is now with Randall Keith Orton. I mean, it's great that he understands the wonderful glory of a beautiful black woman. But damn it, I love that woman a little bit. But you know what? It's alright. Let him have it. I still have my Naomi. I still had my Layla in the ring together, doing a head scissor on another. Have a good day.